Dating is hard, period. I don't care who you are. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there. It can be a blast, and some of my most cherished memories have been from first or second dates. After 10 years of using all of the apps under the sun and meeting people in real life and having a lot of dates and a lot of experience, these are my top takeaways that I wish I could give to my younger self through my experience dating in my 20s. That said, I want to preface this with a couple things before we jump into the gems. I want to caveat this by saying these are not the rules if you're trying to get laid. This is not the game. This isn't about pickup. This is none of that. These are dating ideas, strategies, and things that I've learned along the way that have helped me in looking for a real connection and trying to actually build something with somebody. So if your goal is to just get laid, throw these out the window because none of this is gonna work. If you wanna have dates that are longer lasting than just one night, these might actually help you. These are the things that I've found to be the most helpful, at least in my life. And these are the gems that I wish that I could go back and give young Kia at 19, 20, 21 years old for the last decade that could have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of time and a lot of horror stories. But so it goes. We're here now. So let's jump into it. So for me, the first rule is get off of text as soon as possible. This can be voice messages, this can be a phone call, this can be a video call. People will behave differently over text than they do when you're interacting in a different way. You can also tell so much about a person from their voice. I find as if I can push things into a voice message, then I start getting a real feel for somebody. I found that you can have amazing rapport with people over text, and then as soon as there's any kind of other personal connection, it just falls flat. And so I saved myself a ton of time much later when I was older by being able to have phone calls with people or video chats or quicker dates rather than investing a lot of time texting, blah, blah, blah. And then you end up hanging out and you realize that the chemistry's off. I don't know what it is. I haven't figured this out yet, but there's something about people's text persona and their IRL persona that doesn't always link up, and it's just not the same. Sometimes you have amazing banter in person and over text is flat, which I'm cool with, but I'm not cool with it the other way around. So it doesn't mean you have to meet in person right away, but at least talk on the phone, get a video call in, voice messaging, something so you can actually get a real kind of tangible piece of who they are. For number 2, this one again, this is a key's personal preference. Agree to disagree here. For me, I like to start small. Some people like to go the full Monty. They go dinner, something fancy right off the bat. It's too much logistics. There are dietary preferences. It's do you eat this? What kind of food do you like? I don't want to have to work through all that. If I'm just getting to know you, I want it to just be quicker. Let's do drinks. Let's do a walk in the park. Here's the deal. The reason why I like starting small is because you have an escape plan if you need it. Coffee isn't a big commitment. Walking in the park isn't a big commitment. But you also have a lot of upgrades and bonuses that you can add on to the date if it goes well. You can turn a walk in the park into coffee or ice cream. You can turn a coffee into ice cream or a walk in the park. You can turn just drinks. If it's an evening date, you can turn drinks into bowling or dinner. There are these other things that you can kind of do if you want to. If it's going well, you can extend the time rather than taking a big piece and a big chunk off straight from the beginning when you might get into it. I know probably within 10, 15 minutes, yeah, I want this to be a longer date, or this is a date I'm gonna start thinking of ways that maybe we could keep this going. I like to start small, and then I feel like it gives me more room to work up to rather than biting off a big piece right from the jump. Another one of my tips that I wish I had known beforehand was to be clear, to be straightforward about what you want. I think a lot of times, guys especially, will go on dates when we might just want something physical, and then it escalates maybe and people get confused and wires get crossed. It's this whole thing. For me, I like to be clear before we even go on a date. This is what I'm looking for. In my experience, again, one man's experience, I found women are very appreciative of that honesty, and you'll have those ladies that roll with it and say, cool, I'm looking for something casual too, let's do it. Or somebody says, actually, Kim, I'm looking for something more than that, so that's not gonna fly. And to me, that knowing that up front is helpful because that way you're not wasting anybody's time. Not only am I trying to save my time, I'm not trying to waste your time. And so this is something that I've found to be actually really helpful. Just cutting to the chase, being clear about what you want, so that way you don't end up on the third date. You ask the person what they're looking for and you realize you're on completely different pages. This one is for my men out there, and this is gonna sound weird, maybe misogynistic, maybe sexist, maybe patriarchal. I don't care. Men, if it's your first date, pay for the date. I don't care if she offers, don't take her up on it, pay for the date. Unless she's adamant. There are some women that take a lot of pride in that independence and want to pay, and I get that. Those women will be bullish. Those women will do two things. They'll either beat you to it and pay for the date, pay for the whole thing, both of you, or when you go to pay, they will be adamant that they want to pay their half. And that's cool, let them rock, I get that. A lot of times, women will offer to be nice, and I have a lot of friends who've told me that they've been out with guys and they've offered to be polite, and then the guy takes them up on it, and it kind of rubs them the wrong way. I still want to treat you on this first date, especially if I'm the one asking you out. That's just the way that I roll, and to me, I've found that to be really helpful, and people appreciate that. If you offer to take her out, pay for the first date. I don't care if it's small, if it's coffees, if it's ice cream, whatever it is. If you're taking her out that first time, you're paying. I'm terrible at numbers, so I've lost track what number we're on right now, so I'm just gonna keep rolling. Have fewer expectations. For me, rather than coming into dates now thinking like, oh, is this somebody that I wanna spend the rest of my life with? I come in with the reframe or the mindset, I'm just gonna meet this person, learn about them, and try to have a good time. As soon as I change my lens of perspective from I'm either trying to get laid or I'm trying to meet the love of my life to just let me get to know this person and make sure that we have a good time, changed everything for me. The stakes were zero. My number one goal these days when I'm dating is just make it fun. I think that there is so much pressure about love and all these things that we can get caught up in our own heads. I want to have a good first impression. Mine is, let's just have a good time. Let's make it fun. Let's make it interesting. I'll get to know you a little bit, and if we have a good chemistry, we're having a lot of laughs, then maybe we can have another date after this. But it's not, I don't put so much emphasis now on that first date that it needs to be everything and whoa, sparks are flying. We're having a good time. Is it fun? Is it cool? Awesome, let's do it again. And that segues into my next point, which is try to have more second and third dates. I got this from Aziz Ansari's Modern Love, his book where he was talking about going on a bunch of first dates, and I realized that it takes people a while to grow on you. I realized that I was thin slicing these women often because she wore red shoes or she liked this artist or this movie. When you're first meeting somebody, everything they say, wear, do, we judge really hard because we don't have a lot of time to have known them. So everything that they say carries a lot of weight. These are things that take time to develop, right? Emotions don't happen overnight. Sometimes you see somebody sparks flying. Sometimes it's a good sign, sometimes not. Some of the people that I've had the best relationships with, they weren't like sparks flying, blow your hair back type of dates. And so this one for me has been really huge. It's like, was it a good time? Did I enjoy their company? If yes, let me see where it goes. It's that approach rather than it needs to be everything and over the moon the first time. Wrapping it up, this one is go on more adventures sooner. This doesn't have to be something super huge and crazy. Try to get the person out of a normal context. Take people out of a comfortable scenario. Go to an escape room, go away for a night, go away for a weekend. See what people are like in a scenario that's not just dinner or coffee, because you want to learn what it's like when someone's uncomfortable. You want to know what it's like when you both are maybe arguing or in a stressful situation. That's why I love escape rooms, because they allow you the room and the space to be in a stressful situation, but it's still fun. And so you see how that person reacts. If that person gets stressed out and then is really mean to you, maybe that's a sign. Same with these mini adventures, going away for a night or two. Things become really clear how you're able to interact together. If this person snores and steals the covers and does all these things that you don't like and it's hard to sleep with them, it might be hard to spend a weekend with them, which would also be hard to spend a week in your life with them. So I like to start small rather than saying, is this someone I can spend the rest of my life with? I'm gonna say, can I spend a night with them? Can I spend a weekend with them? And in doing so, you will be able to see how this person reacts in different situations that mimic real life a little more than just a drinks or a dinner or a walk type of context where there are no stakes. Anything that may be a little challenging, just to see how we kind of interact, engage, banter, maybe even fight a little bit if anything comes up. And in my experience, the people that are able to kind of roll with the punches the best are the ones that I'm actually going to fit with the best later on down the line. The last piece to this puzzle for me that was the biggest piece and the piece that I'm honestly still working on, this is a lifelong game when it comes to dating, is know who you are. This will be what makes or breaks dates. The more self-awareness that you have, the better your dates will be, I promise you, because you know that you'll actually be chasing after the right people. I spent a lot of time chasing women that were not right for me because I had my own insecurities and issues to work through, and I'm still working through my own stuff. I don't always nail this one, but the more that I've been able to know myself and know what I want and know what type of a fit actually works well for me, the better my dates are because I'm going out with better selected people. Are these people an actual good fit for you? What are you trying to prove? What are you missing? What type of traits have you fallen for in the past that you continue to fall for and don't even realize it? A big test for me is thinking about, would I still want to hang out with this woman if I didn't want to sleep with her? Easy binary, yes or no. And I found I was taking a lot of women on dates, gorgeous, who weren't a great fit. And then when the date didn't work out, I was frustrated and wondering why, when it was very clear that we weren't meant to be a good match, right? They were saving me time. I couldn't always see that. So what I spend more time thinking about now is, say we take all the physical stuff away, is this someone I would just genuinely want to hang out with? And if the answer is no, then it's clearly a no, unless you just want to do something for that night or whatever. Those are my top tips when it comes to dating in my 20s, things I learned from a lot of dates, a lot of horror stories, and some of my most cherished memories in my entire life. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, smash all of the buttons. If there are any things you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. Appreciate y'all, and I'll check you on the next one. Peace.